Over recent years, we have all watched in horror in the aftermath of attacks on innocent cities in other cities around the world. It is something for which our police and our city staff and all of the other first-line responders here in Toronto have prepared, but it's not a moment that you ever believe will happen in the city that we all call home. Yesterday, as we now know, 10 people were killed and 15 injured in a horrific and deliberate attack near Yonge and Finch in the north part of our city. This unfathomable loss of life has left our city in mourning. And I know that I speak on behalf of all of the members of City Council and City staff when I say that our hearts are with all of those affected, their friends and their families and their co-workers. While we do not yet know the identities of all of those who lost their lives, we can be sure they were people who were loved, who had dreams and families, who had accomplished many things, and who would have done so much more. Yesterday's act of violence is a demonstration of the pain that some people are capable of inflicting on others. But it is also a reminder of what we're capable of as a city. We're capable of great bravery, as we saw when police apprehended the driver quickly and without further risk to the public. It was a heartening example of courage and good training. Our police and our first responders are the best in the world, and they proved it again yesterday. We also saw that we are capable of great calm, as demonstrated by the paramedics, the Toronto firefighters, and I acknowledge the presence of the chief here with us this morning, and people on the scene, ordinary citizens, extraordinary examples of ordinary citizens becoming heroes as well when they rushed immediately to help and comfort those in need alongside our emergency responders. I can tell you as a witness to not only the heroics on the street, but also the deliberate professional management of an unfolding emergency, the leadership of our first responders that I saw in a borrowed boardroom converted to a command post at the scene. Torontonians would have been and should be proud, and their safety was at all times placed first. We also saw heroic efforts as hospital staff at Sunnybrook and North York and St. Mike's worked to save lives and to treat those who had been injured. Those same people I saw late last night demonstrating compassion yet again at Sunnybrook when the hospital staff was working with the police trying to identify victims whose identification was left on the sidewalk, even as desperate family members were at the hospital searching for news as to what had happened to their loved ones. And we showed as a city that we're capable of restraint, as virtually everyone concerned, including the residents of Toronto, exhibited calm and patience as we awaited well-founded, proper information from officials on what happened. Since yesterday, we've seen an outpouring of support for our city. We heard from the Governor-General. I spoke with the Prime Minister, from Public Safety Minister Ralph Goodale, from the Premier, from our provincial colleagues, from mayors and other leaders across the country and around the world. And I want to extend particular thanks to Premier Kathleen Wynne, Public Safety Minister Ralph Goodale, as well as local representatives David Zimmer and our colleague Councillor John Fillion. They came because they cared, and their presence was reassuring. I've also heard from many members of the public, as I'm sure my colleagues have, and people are scared. They are unsure of what happened or why, and they're uncertain about what they should do. We do not have all of the answers. The police and others do not have all of the answers about what happened yesterday, and they may not come for some time. Our police chief, Mark Saunders, is one of Canada's top investigators, and he is leading a team which will find those answers because they know that all of us need to know those answers. But one thing we're certain of already is who we are as a city. We know that we are strong and resilient, and we will not be thrown off course by one person or one act, no matter how horrific. We know how we live together, and that the way we treat each other matters every day, not just on good days, and not just on bad days, but every single day. We value our way of life, which, while not perfect, is certainly special and is admired and recognized as such. We know that we are caring, that we are a city that provides for each other in our times of need, and that we will do whatever it takes to make sure that those who are affected, especially those who've been most directly affected, know that we have their backs and that we have them in our hearts and in our thoughts. In proposing to you that we take a pause from our proceedings today as a City Council, it is meant to say that we are strong and resilient enough to take some time to mourn and to reflect, and then get back to the task of building an even better city tomorrow. I know that there will be other events that are in the process of being planned now in the proper manner, but I think that this gesture on our part today is a small but meaningful way in which we can show our respect to those who are hurting, especially the families and the friends and co-workers of those who lost their lives or were injured yesterday, but also show our respect to the first responders and to the hospital staff and to the witnesses, people who were just there on a sunny spring day. We sometimes forget the searing impact that these events can have on all of those people, those who did their jobs and those who were just there and those who stepped forward as citizen heroes. Having remarked on the professionalism and the courage of all of those involved in dealing with yesterday's horrific events, may I, on behalf of the people of the City of Toronto and the members of City Council, extend our heartfelt and sincere gratitude to them. Nous remercions nos travailleurs d'urgence courageux et qualifiés et nous nous sentons forts comme une ville triste, mais une ville qui sait que nous pouvons aller de l'avant comme un exemple pour le monde. May I say to the members of the police service as well, and especially to Chief Saunders, who's leading a team of men and women who are looking into this and investigating this as thoroughly as we know they will. We will support you in leaving no stone unturned in finding out what happened and why, and whether there is anything we can do to prevent this from happening again, here or anywhere else. We owe that, at the very least, to the people who were victimized by yesterday's attack. We owe it to each other and to the wonderful city that we are all blessed to call home. Toronto was a great city yesterday, it's a great city today, and it will be a great city tomorrow. The people who call this city home are shaken, and we mourn together, but we are not broken, and we will not be broken. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.